Okay, this is video number 2. There's a couple of things I forgot to say in the first one. You know I'm pretty long-winded, but I think this will help you too. One thing about the notes. In your book you might see flat versus sharp. I mentioned A sharp, B, C. Flats people use also. They're the same thing. An A sharp is the same as a B flat. So just think of a B going back. That's the flat. Okay, if you go back, you're going to be an A sharp. Okay, that's all. That's a simple way to think of it. So, a D flat is the same as a C sharp. A lot of times you'll see E flat. That's a D sharp. Did I just say that? Okay. You'll see E flat a lot. I don't know why they like to use E flat. Some notes they like to use sharp. Some notes they'll use flat. So you may see them sort of interchanged. For instance, E flat is very common to use instead of D sharp. I don't know why, because D sharp and E flat are the same thing. So anyway, that's one thing to keep in mind, just so that doesn't confuse you. Now I'm going to show you just the technical side of the bass. Here's the bass. This is plugged into. Here's the cord. This is, I don't know how well you can see this. See this? It's going to be a little noisy here for a minute. You just plug that in. This is the cord. Here's the amp, the little practice amp I'm loaning you. Let me try to get in the picture here. Okay, you see there's a knob that says input. That's where you put it in. And then you have volume controls, and you've got treble and bass controls. I keep those pretty straight up. Okay, and I think that's probably a good level for your playing. But there's also controls on the actual guitar itself. I don't know how well you can see this. This picture's not real clear. These are called pickups. These two things are pickups, which is basically microphones. They're picking up the vibrations of the strings, which makes it allowed to be amplified, which is why you can hear it. These are just microphones right here. That's all they really are. This switch here, but they sound different. These are two different kind of microphones. You see they even look different. This switch here, what it allows you to do, some people like just to use this microphone or these pickups. This, not this. Totally not this one at all. So what this switch does is it flips it to which pickup you want to use. So if it's flipped totally toward that pickup, that first pickup, that's what it's going to use only. So in other words, that is being picked up. This is not doing anything right here. Okay. If you switch it to the middle, this little white knob, if you switch it to the middle, that means both pickups are being used. Okay? That means it's both are being used. If you switch it all the way, this way, just the back pickup's being used. Now, people get real picky about their sound. That's why you have this kind of option here. Okay? In the early goings, what you're doing, there's no need to be picky about it. I mean, if something doesn't sound right, you can flip around on this and just see which one you like better if you want. Okay? I will say this, for some reason on this bass, well there is a reason, I know what it is, but it's a long story. It's better to keep it in this first position, I think. It's less noisy. It gets a little noisy. This knob here, you can't see real well, but you'll see it when you get it. This is the volume knob, so this is, you know, if you want to be a little louder, turn it up. If you want to be a little lower, turn it down. Very simple. This knob here, the one closest to the back of the guitar, is your tone knob. Bass and treble is like you have on a stereo. That's all it is. So usually I try to keep it about in the middle, you know. Let's, you know, whatever. Keep it in the middle. But you can toy around with it too. If for some reason you're not liking your sound, you can toy around with this stuff. And that's pretty much it. Now, you are going to want to... Your guitar is not going to stay in tune all the time. Now, bass guitars do stay in tune very well, because they have heavy strings. Heavier strings stay in tune better. Lighter strings don't stay in tune very well. But on a bass guitar, all the strings are heavy compared to a regular guitar. So they do stay in tune pretty well. But what you're going to do is, this is a guitar tuner. And there's a little input thing you plug in this cord into. Actually, you don't have to. It has a microphone you can use too, but it works better if you plug the cord into it. Just like you would an amp. And then you tune it, and it'll tell you what notes. Remember I said it's E, A, D, and G. I forgot for a minute. E, A, D, and G. So on the tuner, it'll tell you when it's it'll come up E. It'll show an E. It'll be straight up this little needle, or most of them have lights. This needle's uncommon on most tuners these days. But they'll have a light, and it'll say E, and that means you're in tune. I'm not going to give you a tuner. I'm going to give you the guitar to you already in tune, and it should stay that way for a while, I would think. But you're going to go to the store and get you a tuner, and they're very inexpensive. You get a decent tuner for $10 these days. Now this one's a real good one. This is closer to $100, but this is way, way, way more than you need. It's more than I need, truthfully. In fact, the tuner I use most is a tuner I got free buying 3 sets of strings. That's the one I use the most. So, I mean, they're really, that technology has went a long way. You can get a good tuner for hardly anything. So you want to go do that at some point, just to make sure you're in tune. Also, I think the book I give you has CDs, and you can, it'll give you the tones. You can compare like the CD will have boom, and you can compare your guitar with what's on the CD. Now your ear is probably not very good or musically, so you're not going to be able to tell. You might be able to tell if it's close, but you're not going to be able to tell if it's exact. So that's why even I can't even tell most of the time if it's exact. And I've been playing for years. So you'll want to go get a tuner. I think even like Walmarts and Targets and all sell guitar tuners. So I mean, you can get those anywhere, and they're all good enough. Okay, that's it. Just wanted to let you know how to actually plug the thing in and, actually start playing it. And also, you don't need to plug in. A lot of times I practice, like I'll practice and watch TV. I'll have it unplugged. Just take the bass, unplug, no amplifier or anything, and just practice. And it's very quiet when you do that. And it usually doesn't disturb the person you're watching TV with too much. Now, it might a little bit. But even when you're by yourself, you don't always have to lug the amp around. Just take the guitar itself and just practice some scales or just something you've learned, just anything. Toughen your fingers up, if nothing else. Just get your fingers tough on the board. Just, hit some notes, whatever you have to do. So don't always feel like you have to be plugged in or even have your book with you. Maybe you remembered something from your book and you just sat in front of the TV, watched the ball game, remembered what you learned from your book, just playing it while you're watching the ball game. Just get your fingers. That helps a whole lot just to do that. I used to practice scales just watching TV because scales are boring and repetitive, and you don't need to be looking at a book to do them. Once you learn what they are, the pattern of them, you can just keep doing them over and over and over while you're watching TV and getting your fingers used to it. Okay, hope that helps.